This video is brought to you by Practical Music Theory for the Rock Guitarist, my new book, which is a comprehensive guide to all aspects of music theory necessary for playing rock guitar. From blues to the cycle of fifths, from understanding and using modes to choosing the right notes for a melodic solo, from pentatonic scales to chord construction and keys. It's all covered in a clear and concise manner. With accompanying video demonstrations, jam tracks and tabs, you'll learn to use the knowledge you gain in accessible ways that make sense for less than the cost of a few guitar lessons. Check out the link in the description for more details. Hello chaps, welcome once again to John Robson Guitar Tuition. As always, I do hope you're well. Now then, if you absolutely adore playing the guitar, if you are passionate about it, and if, like me, perhaps you make your living from playing the guitar. For me, it's the only real job I've ever known, playing and teaching guitar. Occasionally, as a musician's life, a musician's income is not necessarily always a reliable one. In past years, I have taken on the odd little part-time cleaning job or that kind of thing, and, back in the late 80s into the early 90s, 88 to 91, I worked as a lab technician. But since then, this thing has been my main source of income. So in light of that, there can be nothing more troubling, more concerning, more worrying, more scary, in fact, than some kind of catastrophic hand injury. Well, that's exactly what happened to me 7 months ago. On the afternoon of Wednesday the 29th of November 2023, I was out walking the dog. Here he is. This is Dougal. He's a boisterous wee chap. Well, he's not such a wee chap anymore. He's 35 kilos of utter chaos in a lot of cases. He has two speeds, Tasmanian Devil and Sloth, basically. And it was one of the Tasmanian Devil phases that he was going through, that he got something in his mouth. He has this attitude towards food, which is, I wonder if that's food. I'll eat it and find out. And it often has consequences. He got something in his mouth when we were out on a walk. He was on the lead. Still don't know to this day what it was he had in his mouth. It was shiny. It might have been a discarded disposable vape or a piece of glass or something metallic. I don't know. Anyway, I managed to get it out of his mouth. So all was good there. But in the ensuing kerfuffle, this finger, third finger on my fretting hand, got caught in the dog's lead and got wrenched in a direction never intended by nature. And the weird thing was, it didn't hurt at all. I didn't notice a thing. Until I got home. I got home about 10 to 3. It was around about 3 p.m. when I got home from walking the dog, and my evening lessons started at 4 p.m. And picked up the guitar, just to kind of warm up a little bit before the lesson started, and suddenly I'm realising that the finger in question is no longer responding to commands from up here. This is worrying, I thought. So I rang the doctor's surgery and they said, it's probably going to need an x-ray. We don't have that facility here. You'll need to go to the local walk-in clinic, which is close enough. So I fired off a few quick emails to the students that I had booked in for that day. And that was me in a hospital waiting room for some considerable time, waiting for x-rays and so on. And eventually they confirmed that the finger was broken. Not only that, they confirmed that the is it a ligament or a tendon? Let's call it a tendon, had become detached, which was the reason why the finger wasn't responding. And this was like one of those moments when you see in kind of movies where, someone is just suddenly kind of being followed around by a black cloud, that rains on them. That's how it felt. It was like, oh, wow. What's going to happen here then? And to cut a long story short, a few days later, I had an appointment with a hand specialist at the local teaching hospital. And, I was expecting some turbocharged painkillers and a fancy splint to kind of set the finger in the right sort of direction and then be sent on my way. But no, I was in there. That was 9 o'clock in the morning. I got home about 9 o'clock that night. I'd been kept in all day and they'd done surgery on my hand. And there you have it. I was told by the surgeon that there was a reasonable chance that I'd get most, but no guarantee all, of the function back in the finger. And that's pretty much where we're at now. If you've seen any of my videos recently, you will know that I've had to adapt the way that I play. Since I got the splint off, and which has been a wee while now, since I got the splint off and, you know, kind of got the okay to start using me hand again, then, you know, I've had to adapt. Let's look at Cowboy chords, for example. A C chord, which would once have been like that. You see the problem, before we go any further, the problem is that you can see what this finger here isn't doing. Just that last joint in the finger won't bend, which means, you know, kind of holding down some chords can be something of a tricky proposition. A C chord, for example, which would have once been like that, now the fourth finger takes over. A G chord, which, that's kind of a bit of a stretch. Now, once again, the little finger takes over. A D chord, which would once have been that kind of thing, now I just bar with that finger and place the little finger in front of it like that. And, you know, all sounds okay. The A chord, which would once have been that, well, every guitar player I know ends up playing an A chord with a single finger. I can manage to arch this index finger away from the top E string and get a decent sounding A chord. As for an E, well, you know, I can kind of just about do it, but I've sort of got into the habit of covering these two strings just with that finger, and the same for A minor. D minor, again, little finger takes over the role of this kind of dodgy one. So, by and large, I've got all of the Cowboy chords covered. Bar chords, I can get this finger on at just the right angle to play either a major or a minor bar chord. Same goes for this minor bar chord shape here. But this one, the one that we all tend to play like that, that's not going to happen. So I have to use the little finger there. Like that. So you'll see me playing chords like major chords based on the A shape like that a lot of the time. So chord-wise, I can get by. There are a couple of chords I still find it tricky to hold down a diminished seventh chord like that. You can. Actually, I'm not making a bad job of it there. But it is a little bit hit and miss. So there are little kind of dodges that I come up with that I know that if I take this shape, so there, and there, that's the majority of a diminished seventh, and I can just move that 3 frets away, and whatever note is missing will be, you know, kind of replaced as I do, like that, rather than kind of spending the whole bar there. Basically, little dodges and fiddles like that I do. More complex chords like major sevenths and stuff like that are a bit tricky, but you can break those down into simpler chords. For instance, a G major seventh is nothing more than a B minor with a G bass note. So I just make sure that the bass player, which is me, on a different track in the recording software, plays the G note, and then I'll just play a B minor chord on top of it, and that gives me the chord I want. So it's just a little bit of theory knowledge like that helps out in various places. So chords are basically, you know, pretty much taken care of. The main adaptation I've had to make is, you know, when playing lead guitar, pretty much this is the default finger for most people to do string bends with. Yeah. That ain't going to happen anymore. So now I will do a string bend with this finger. And, you know, even though I've only got one finger behind it, and the general received wisdom is that you tend to need to bend with 2 fingers behind the one that you're bending with. That's always what I've told my students over the years anyway. I seem to be able to go pretty good. Even a minor third bend I can do. What has helped that is that for about 25 years before this situation arose, I used to put 10 to 46 gauge strings on every guitar, whatever the scale length, whether it was a Fender scale length, PRS scale length, Gibson scale length, it was 10 to 46 gauge strings. I've gone down to 9 to 42, and just that little bit less tension is, makes it a little bit more accommodating. So string bends I can pretty much do. Unison bends I can just about do. Kind of there's that finger there, that's going to be kind of bending, without any support, and then holding this note here like that. Again, thank you to the 9 to 42 gauge strings for the little bit less tension. There's not really been much that I haven't been able to adapt to. Every single guitar demo and thing that I do usually has one of my little kind of legato kind of flurries in it that's slowed down. We'll go like that, and you can see the third finger isn't really involved in that anyway. That's because I'm using 3 note per string patterns, and then slide up a bit, and then like that. So each string has 3 notes on it, and there are sort of 3 kind of variations on the 3 note per string thing. You've got, if I just do them down here, you've got what I call the 1 fret plus 2 fret, so 5, 6 and 8, or the 2 fret plus 1 fret. You can just about get that note on there, but not at any kind of speed, or the 2 fret plus 2 fret. And there's only one of those where the third finger, the injured finger, needs to be involved, and that's this one. So as long as I don't play too many of those, and when I do, I'll go like that, first, second and fourth, or maybe instead of going hammer on, I'll go hammer on and slide like that. So I could play something like see, that part there would once have been, yeah, that's not even borderline comfortable, so I'll just do that with a slide. So I've been able to adapt in most situations, and after the accident happened, it was like, I thought, right, okay, this is November now, let's set and I knew I was in for the long haul, because that's what the medics had told me. I thought, I want to be able to play as good as if I wasn't injured by the time it gets to my birthday in February, and I hit that target. The only thing I ever had to, the only kind of main adaptation I had to do was I had to get rid of one of my favourite guitars. My old PRS, the S2 Standard 24 Satin, was, I loved that guitar, but it just had a neck profile that, because now I've got a big lump of effectively dead meat on my hand, which can't do, which I've got to kind of have room to get that out of the way, if you like. And the neck profile on that old PRS was just a little bit too skinny to make that comfortable. I could use it, but it was where it might take me 2 or 3 takes to nail a solo beforehand. I'd be tripping over this useless finger a lot more after the accident, and it would take me maybe 5 to 10 takes to get the same thing played. So with a heavy heart, I had to sell that guitar. This one has now got the wide, thin neck profile, which is much more accommodating. I can, as I say, still use that finger for certain things. I'm starting to use it a little bit more for, like, when I do the kind of hybrid picking on sixths and stuff. Like that. For a while, I couldn't do that. I was having to use my little finger there, but... But now I can kind of get that finger on. It's just the fact that anything where that finger has to bend at the last joint is pretty much out of the question now, and I have to find other ways around it. But there are ways around it. You know, a lot of people, when I was talking about the injury just after it had happened, pointed out, you know, Tony Iommi, if he could overcome losing the ends of his fingers, and of course Django Reinhardt, if he could overcome basically having two fingers out of action, because he could only play with these two, then having a slightly impaired version of one finger shouldn't be insurmountable, and it's proved to be the case. There are a lot of people I want to thank for their support, because there were some dark times when, you know, I think I had the operation on the Monday and the accident happened on the previous Wednesday, and those were some dark times there. What is going to happen? Am I going to be able to play the guitar? What am I going to do? It was a worrying time. But friends, a good friend of mine in particular, you know who you are, and my absolutely gorgeous wife, Jackie, couldn't have been more supportive. Even Dougal, there he is, even though he had, you know, kicked off the whole chain of events, you know, he sort of knew that the big lad wasn't really right in some sort of way, and, you know, he was always kind of fussing around me and, you know, wanting to kind of climb up on me knee and almost like you were saying, sorry, he wasn't, because they're not aware of such things, but that's the way I prefer to interpret it. And of course, you chaps on here, you know, you have been massively supportive. I am incredibly lucky to have an audience as loyal and as supportive and just a decent bunch of chaps that you are. Thank you for all of the support that you give me. On, you know, in the comments section, on the Friday live stream and so on. I can't tell you how much that helped. You know, as I say, the accident happened on a Wednesday, and I didn't kind of get the operation until the following Monday. There was a Friday live stream involved in that, in between those two things, and that live stream really did book me up no end. You may have noticed, just I can't remember what the date was, but it was the Friday after the 29th, the Wednesday the 29th. You can work that out on a calendar, but you really did boost my spirits on that live stream. So thank you to each and every one of you. And of course, thank you to Miss Kettle, the surgeon, who performed the surgery on my hand and gave me my livelihood back. And thank you to the lovely Alicia, the physiotherapist, who whose encouragement and exercises that she gave me to do with my hand, I'm convinced has made a big difference. So there you go, folks. That's it. That's the video for today. A little bit different compared to the usual run of things, but I just wanted to get this off my chest. Now that the dust has all settled and everything. So thank you once again, everyone. Hope you've enjoyed my little ramblings here, and if that's the case, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you haven't already done so. Why not drop me a like as well while you're at it? And don't forget the live stream every Friday, 5 p.m. UK time. You know what happens. We drink beer and talk about music and guitars and all manner of stuff. It's a great way to kick off the weekend, and I'd love to see you there if you can make it. But for now, I'll bid you all a good day and say thank you so much for watching. Thank you for everything, everyone. Look after yourselves, folks. Stay well, stay safe, and above all, stay sane. Bye for now.